Today, Joe V is visiting the newest addition to Portland's craft beer scene.
Yeah, it's a brewery, tap room, and restaurant. The good news is, despite current restrictions, you can still taste their many different offerings. Joe's live in Northwest Portland with more from Hammer and Stitch. Joe, I love that name.
Yes, so Shauna, it's kind of a tribute to makers. I'll explain that in just a little bit, but right now we're getting a little sample of what they have to offer here at Hammer and Stitch. I'm with Ben Dobler and Cam Murphy. Ben is the founder and also the brewmaster here. Cam is the head brewer. Let's get the timeline here first, Ben. So it was, I believe December 2019. You broke ground on this new brewery, beautiful facility here in Northwest Portland, and then you opened it in October 2020. A lot changed in that time period.
Yeah.
So you had maybe about a month where you've actually been able to open up for customers, right? So the cool thing is they've opened up a space where you can come enjoy some beer, some food. We'll talk about that in a second. But first of all, tell me a little bit about the brewery. You're telling both you guys are kind of like longtime veterans of the Portland beer scene.
Yeah, not to totally date myself, but I'm approaching about 30 years in the industry. And
here in Portland.
Yes, all here in Portland. Yeah, started off at Bridgeport in the 90s, and then a good stint at Widmer Brothers for about 20 years, and then finished up at Laurelwood, and that's where I met Cam. And then started this project.
So tell me the thought behind it, because, we've got a lot of great breweries. Where did you think there was a space for something new?
The space that we really feel we can operate in is consistent, drinkable beer, somewhat kind of simplistic a little bit, if you will. Beer drinkers like simple.
Yeah. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. We're going to take you inside the tap room and show you some of the beers and the names. Like the lager is called the lager. It's very crazy stuff. I want to come back here and introduce Cam. So Cam, you're going to show us a little bit of kind of the process that you do to make sure that a beer is ready, right? What are we looking at here?
Right, so right here we're looking at a sample of the pail, and we have a hydrometer sitting in our cylinder, and what we're doing is we're checking the amount of sugar that's in the beer. We can see that it's actually stopped dropping in sugar, and it's ready to dry hop.
So, you mean, is it the number that we're looking at here, or is it the fact that it's floating? What are we looking for?
So as the amount of sugar changes, it'll float higher or lower and change that number that we're looking at.
Gotcha. Okay, very good. So now this beer is pretty much ready for the next step, the next part of the journey, I guess?
Correct, yep. We're dropping the temperature, we're adding a little bit of pressure, and then we're gonna add some hops.
Okay, now Hammer and Stitch, their new brewery, tap room, they've also got great food here as well. They are located here off Northwest Wilson and 23rd, right here in the Slabtown area. And you just opened basically an outdoor tented area now, so people can actually come back out here and enjoy some beer and some food in person, right? And tell us when they can do that.
So we're open Wednesday through Sunday, currently 12 to 6 p.m. However, we're looking to extend our hours on Friday and Saturday to 8 p.m. And we just added heaters, so that's a huge bonus.
That is a big deal when it's early February in Oregon. And Shauna, you were talking about the name. So Hammer and Stitch, as I mentioned, it's kind of a tribute to makers. For instance, you might build something with a hammer or stitch something, if you're sewing or a tailor or something like that. So these guys, they're craftsmen. They build things, and what they build are great beers, and we're going to show that to you coming up in just a bit. Let's send it back to you in the studio.
I love that. I just think it's a
too.
great name. Yeah, Joe, thank you. Can't wait to see more.